Welcome to the Tom Bernard Podcast and the Family with
Alex Brandt Bernard Rasmussen.
Andy Brandt Bernard.
And Kristen Burt.
Catherine will be back. She's at a doctor's appointment, but she should be in, I would imagine, any minute now. It all depends if she's lingering or not. That's all I have to say.
More like
That's all I have
lingering.
to say.
Nobody lingers at the doctor.
No,
Well, I suppose.
I'm
No.
like
Maybe.
the lingeriest lingerer, but not at a doctor's office.
No.
I'm like,
No.
see ya.
I want out.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. I got my doctor is one of my friends, so I do linger at the doctor's office
stop
because
going.
Paulie and I sit and schmooze for, although I haven't seen Paulie in a while now.
I haven't seen him in a long
Oh, there's Nana. I just heard the door.
Beep, beep, beep. I'm surprised I'm not hearing rough.
There
rough.
she is.
Yes.
Jude must not be there, huh?
No, Jude was asleep, so he'll be
Asleep?
waking up any second.
Mom's
No
home.
question about it. So I got a couple of messages just as the show started. And one person said, hey, I really like that thing you asked if you should get back into radio. He said it's like, I don't know, 48, 49, 50,000 or something like that or whatever. He said, did you notice one thing? And I said, no, I didn't really notice anything. To myself, I said that. Did you notice one thing? The only people that say they won't listen to you anymore is because you aren't as good as you used to be, and that all of a sudden, like 10 years ago, you weren't anywhere near as good. And they basically named almost the date that Cumulus bought the company. They bought the radio station. So it was my fault that Cumulus tanked the thing.
Was it from Disney straight to Cumulus?
I think there was
Wasn't there
somebody in
someone-
between.
No, there was another like C, like
Yeah.
For like 2 years or something.
cat.
Yeah.
There was another like.
Let's see. What was it? I can't even remember.
I can't remember. I had
A
dinner
weird
with the
little
guy.
handoff.
Yeah.
Happens a
Yeah,
Yeah,
lot.
kind of. He was a nice guy, though. He was a real nice guy. He made some dough off of that deal. I know that.
Wasn't it like some Middle Eastern brothers or
Yeah.
something?
Yep, it
Yeah.
was.
Oh yeah.
Who were they?
He was a nice
Wasn't
guy.
like Fareed one of their names?
Fareed's, yeah.
Citadel.
Yep.
Yeah, Citadel.
Citadel, there you go.
Oh, that's
who it was.
Yeah, look at that.
There you go.
Oh,
See something.
Cumulus bought Citadel.
Ah.
So that's what happened.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course
Cumulus
they
bought
made
Citadel.
money then.
Right.
Yep.
And then tanked the station, which now, by the way, Kristen Bird in the morning has a when it was with Hubbard, not Hubbard, Jesus, when it was with Disney, we had a 40 share, highest rated morning show in America. It now has a 0.2.
Whoa.
How do you tank something that badly in 10 years?
Well, the market's changed, and
Yeah,
of course,
right.
technology has disrupted radio quite a bit. So there's that. But I think people like comfort, and people like the same people in place. And
Right.
what happens, and this is the thing, think of all the upheaval we've had over the last, let's say, 5-6 years, just a lot of things happening in the world. When people just want to go back, it's why you go back and watch The Office, or it's why you go back and watch Friends
Yeah, yep.
during chaotic times. But instead of thinking, oh, our listeners want to go back and make sure that they listen to Tom every single morning to start their day, and at least that they have that routine, they go, oh my gosh, people aren't listening to Tom anymore because of, all these other apps and technology and podcasts and everything else. So they take you out because they think you're the problem when you're not the problem.
Do you know
that
that
make
every single person now has been fired? All of them. All the Cumulus people have been
Yep.
fired. It's just unbelievable. And they got a 2 share, not even a 2 share, a 0.2 share. Why? I don't understand why you would want to run a business. First of all, why don't we just leave the KQ Morning Show alone? It's kicking ass in America. The day they took over, they had to change everything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it gets blamed on me because, I have to do what they tell me because they write the check and all the rest of it. But I mean, that's happened to a number of friends of mine. They were doing really, really well. New company buys them, and all of a sudden, no, you can't do that anymore. You can't do this anymore. You can't do that anymore. I remember the guy who's the head of the PDs now at the company. The first day he met me, he said, "You've done very well, Tom. I was looking at the numbers and income and all the rest of it. Why don't you just retire?" And I was like, boy, there's an indication of where we're headed. The day I met the guy, he suggested I should retire. It's like,
Get out while you're on top.
But yeah, that's what he said. Why don't you just get out when you're on top? It's like, oh God.
No, because you're like I think we've talked about this before. You're a line item, and you were an expensive line item because you had
Yeah.
earned that salary over your
Yep.
career,
Yep.
and that's all they look at. They look at, oh my gosh, he's earning X amount of dollars. We need to cut the budget now that we're in here, and we're seeing this a lot with private equity coming
God,
in and
yes.
scooping
Yep.
up businesses. They are ruining things that are special, and then they take away all the special things, and then people go, wait, what happened to that great customer service we used to have? Well,
But they always blame it on the head person. It's your fault that it fell apart because they don't know what happened behind the scenes. No, they have no idea. And I don't blame them. But there were a couple of, and I'll say this again, it was hilarious. Alex wasn't here, but I did ask online if I got back on the radio, would you listen? And like 95% of people said absolutely you would. It'd be great. 5% of the people said they hated me and would never listen to me again and all blah, 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 and all the rest of it. And honest to God, some people, it just was so far over the top. And I'm reading this, there are like 20 posts. I hated you on the radio. I checked every post. All 20 of them came right after the bars closed. 1 o'clock in the morning. They're all drunker than hell. I'm mad at the world. I thought that was hilarious.
I think, Tom, though, you should just continue to bank on podcasting because that is the direction it's going in. And then start really developing a really strong social media strategy because I think that's the one thing that you need to add. And that really adds more visibility.
Oh, I think so,
for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. And I don't know who to hire or how to do that or whatever.
You need, this is seriously, you need a Gen Zer in
Oh,
whether
I'm
it's
sure.
someone
Yeah,
right
I'm
out
sure
of
that's true.
college or someone that wants to get in social media, they will kill it for you. They're going to kill it on TikTok for you. They'll kill it on,
Good.
Instagram and Facebook where you really need to be. And I think you'll do really well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. As a matter of fact, so we'll get that taken care of. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, when I'm talking about getting back into radio, I don't want to host a show or have my own show. I just like to appear once or twice a week or something like that. Or
Yeah.
a couple
Cameos
of
are
times.
great. You appearing
Yeah.
on other podcasts, great cross promotion.
Yeah, I haven't done that either.
You
I've got to do a
should
lot more
because
of that.
I mean
Yeah.
I do it all the time with my job. You absolutely should be doing that. So
Well, how do I find out who takes guests? How do I find that out?
Make some calls.
yeah, you know what? I think you just need to. I would actually do a shout out on your social media pages, like, "Hey, does anyone need a guest? I'd love to talk about."
Okay.
Just put that out.
I could
Put
do
yourself out there because honestly, people will respond.
Oh yeah, you can
I
find
like it.
1,000 small radio stations, especially like up north
Mm-hmm.
in Minnesota. They would all, I'm sure, be glad.
Yes.
They'd love to have you. And honestly, like one podcast begets another. Like honestly, I did that segment for Philadelphia for both the wildfires, and then they invited me back for the Oscars. It was
Right.
an ABC station. That's how I wound up doing the Nightline thing, which still isn't out yet. But
Oh, really?
that's how a lot of the producers talk to each other. They're looking for people, or it winds up in a Google search. So I think you should do it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to get a social media person, do all those. I got to start doing all those things. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to make it clear to everybody, I'm not going to go back and host a show or anything like that. I would just do appearances on a show or a couple of shows or whatever. You know, like once a week, twice a week, something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And I do that when the wildfires were happening, I'd put a shout out to some of my contacts saying, hey, do you want anyone who's kind of on the ground and can give you just, a read on what Hollywood feels like right now? And that's how I did several other appearances.
Nana's here. I have to ask her, how's the traffic looking, honey? Uh-oh, she's making a face.
I think she's.
When you're walking, it's not
Oh,
hard
that's
at
right.
all.
You walk. I forgot.
yeah.
You walk.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, I don't think I'd ever come downtown if I didn't live here. They need a tunnel and they need Jetson cars because
Wow.
it's insane. Plus, there's a huge boat show going on right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that yesterday.
show.
Yeah.
And then next week is spring break, so it's all
God.
mental down here.
People always talk about
Breakers.
flying cars, but I mean, have you seen how people drive two-dimensional cars?
Yeah,
Do
you
we
don't
really
need one
three
flying.
Well,
dimensions
I
that
would-
they can drive in.
I would hope that they would make it so that they had really good sensors so they wouldn't be bashing into things because, yeah, you're
Do
right.
you guys have Waymo in your area, like in Miami, maybe?
Do we have
Wait,
what?
Waymo is like an
Oh.
Uber or Lyft, but those are the self-driving cars. We have them here in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
think that they do have them in Miami. I think
think
it's
they do in
been.
Miami, yeah.
I'm really surprised we don't have them here.
Waymo Miami is becoming a thing. Testing in early 2025,
Mm-hmm.
launch in 2026.
Oh, okay.
So not yet,
There
but
you
apparently
have it.
soon.
They're fun to watch because when they go by, you're like,
Have you
and
ever
then if they get stuck, they're funny.
have you ever gotten in one?
I haven't yet, and I need to because it's kind of. I just want to at least try it and see what it's
Yeah.
like
I
to
I
have.
could be a little
Yeah.
freaked out about
Yeah,
it.
I
Can you
will
like
be.
No.
can you take control if things go wrong?
You can call customer service and they can try and override the system. But let me tell you, there was a TikTok that I saw. A guy got stuck in a Waymo that for some reason was only making left turns. So he was in like a
Oh,
circular
God.
drive and could not get out. And he was like, it was amazing.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to get out.
Yeah, for real. There should be like an
Yes.
emergency stop, and then just get the hell out. Kind
Yeah,
of
like
thing.
you climb in the front and be like override, and then
And you could
Right.
hear the customer service go like, we're trying to override the system as they're like typing away.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. And I held off until Nana got back.
Oh.
I didn't know you were coming or not for sure. But Kristen Burt, Catherine and I watched a movie last night.
Oh,
Catherine was
you
terrified.
talked about it.
oh dear.
What?
Kristen talked about it. But she's the
Right.
one that told us.
Right. So Catherine was horrified. I thought it was a brilliantly written, very well acted movie called Heretic. Holy God, what a great movie.
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh, is that the
Hugh.
one where the Mormons go into a house or whatever it is?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And Hugh Grant is brilliant in it.
So good.
He's so good.
What I love about Hugh Grant right now is he's kind of he's in his curmudgeonly era. He's embracing it. And then he's just like, I don't care what I do anymore. And so he's just taking really interesting roles that are so unlike what we knew Hugh Grant being, 30 years ago as
Yeah.
like the bumbling, comedic Englishman doing rom-coms and things like that.
Right,
And he's
right.
doing some of the best work of his career.
Oh, great. He's so good in it. There is a scene in it for Andy and Alex. Have you seen the movie?
No,
No.
I don't even
I'm
know.
aware
I don't
of
know
it,
what
though.
I've never.
There is a scene in the movie where Hugh Grant, who is a nut job, a brilliant nut job.
Boy, is he a nut job.
But he points out the fact, and I didn't know this, but the game Monopoly was a ripoff.
Yeah.
Because a woman came up with
The
what
landlord's
was
game or whatever.
Landlord's Game. Yep.
Yes. Oh, you knew about this, Sandy.
I did.
Not surprising.
Yeah, some Fuller Brush man or something visited her house
Yep.
and stole the idea and made him. He was the first millionaire for the board games. That's what started the whole board game thing.
And she couldn't sue
Wow.
him.
Well, to be fair, the landlord's game was designed to be unfun on purpose. So it
Right,
wasn't
yes.
super
Sounds
marketable.
like Monopoly to me.
Well, I guess
I don't
a
think
lot of
Monopoly's-
people would
yeah.
agree, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, but the landlord's game, the entire idea was like it's a feudal struggle against capitalism or whatever. So you just
Right.
go around the
Wow,
board and
that's
become
the
poor
This
answer.
is
and-
very contemporary.
Yeah, the
It really
anarchist
does now.
monopoly. I
Yeah,
think
so-
that it would sell big. Yes.
Basically, some
true.
guy saw that and he was like, I could make this something people actually enjoy.
Wow.
And
I just
that's
used to
what he
steal
did.
from the bank as a kid.
Yeah, there you go.
Never had the
At tracks.
It does, doesn't it?
Monopoly. I can't do it.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. It was
God, it was good. Everybody in it was good.
Okay, so what
Yeah.
is it about? I don't know. I've never heard of
these
this.
two girls show up at this person's store. They're missionary
Mormon
types
missionary.
people. Yes,
Okay.
they're trying to find people to baptize into their religion. And Hugh Grant opens the door, and he really can't tell you much because,
No.
I mean, you can guess what happens
was gonna say,
afterwards
I
because
feel like
he's
I
a
already
maniac and
know.
they're, supposedly innocent. But
Yes.
they kind of tried to outsmart him, and they rise to the occasion a lot too. They weren't just like sniveling cowards in the corner. They
Yeah.
were trying to get out of it and use their intelligence, and it was actually very well written. It was good. It was really good. I don't know either of the two women in it.
It's streaming on Max if people want to watch it, just so
Who's
everyone.
Max?
So is it scary? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Is it really
Oh,
stressful?
yeah.
Is it super stressful?
So
Yeah.
Well, I did rip out two of my cuticles chewing them, so yes, it's a little stressful for
You're like, look,
me.
am I bleeding?
I know. That's what happens every time. Every time I'm like, ah.
Grace is in it.
He is?
That's what I
Are
looked
you
up. Heretic cast and
Oh, he
Topher
is. You're
Grace.
right.
Yep. Yep.
Huh. As Elder
never-
Kennedy, whoever
yeah.
the hell that is.
I've never heard of. Sounds like a Mormon thing.
I
The,
feel like you're turning a new leaf, Tom, that you're actually listening to. But I feel
I
like,
am.
Yeah.
you know what? I feel like it's because Catherine's here. Because when I was doing this,
Oh.
when we
Yeah.
were doing segments without Catherine, this is why it's taking 2 years to watch Full Swing. I feel like Catherine would have been like, yes.
Well, if I wasn't around, Tom would watch Alfred Hitchcock and Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
you're out of your Gunsmoke phase. You're
I watch
now.
Alfred Hitchcock, One Step Beyond.
one step beyond.
And what's the other one? The 45-minute one with Jonathan Frakes.
Something. Oh,
Beyond Belief
Beyond
or-
Belief.
Beyond Belief. Yeah.
We made
Non-stop.
it up.
Beyond.
It's fiction.
Yeah.
I
Never
feel like
mind.
we're making some progress now. This is
We are
great.
making progress. You're absolutely right.
So I was talking to the woman that was cutting my hair. I said, "We saw the scary movie," and she said, "I love scary movies." So I told her a little bit about the premise of it, and she says, "That sounds a lot like Centerpiece." Have you ever heard of Centerpiece?
No.
These two girls end up going to a house for help, and this doctor turns people into centerpieces. I'm like,
my
I've never
God.
heard of this.
That sounds like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Kinda
that
I
sounds
get
does.
the
good.
centerpiece movie, and
I
I,
don't
get
like
the
it.
human centipede. How bad at spelling do you think I am?
Maybe it's not
The
called.
human centerpiece.
Well, that's
and then
what she
there's
said
a
it was.
TV series where they make centerpieces out of flowers. So
No.
I don't think it's called centerpiece. Whatever
Yeah,
she's
I was
thinking
gonna say. I
of,
just looked.
It almost sounds like an episode of something. That's what it.
it probably
Yeah,
is.
because
Yeah,
that's
like a
the
black
thing.
box or.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to take a break. I know that. We'll be right back in like 2 minutes, and we'll
Then
find
we
out.
can googly woogly it.
Mobland. We have to talk Mobland.
All right, we will right after this. Thanks. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much.
Oh, she
Doing my
said the
usual
movie
thing of telling people they
Centerpiece.
shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands free, but you can't have your phone in your hand for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Let's take a second to talk about my bank, and that, of course, would be North American Banking Company. If you own a business or are thinking about starting one, make sure to check out my friends at North American Banking Company, where your business is looking to capitalize on an opportunity or solve a problem. They turn to their experts then, because they are locally owned and operated. Loan decisions are made here in the Twin Cities, not shipped out of state. This helps business owners expand with confidence. So, if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So Catherine's making a face. Is that a good thing?
I can't find this stupid movie.
I don't think
I
it
couldn't
exists.
either. I looked at it too.
Did
Anyone
Alex
in the chat have
disappear?
Any idea? It's Heretic, but it's not called Heretic,
The
and it might be called
Surgeon?
something like Centerpiece.
Where's Alex?
Maybe put it in
Alex
a
went to the
movie
bathroom.
about where two girls turn into a centerpiece. See if that pops. In.
Oh yeah.
Hyper specific or
Girls
AI
turn
ChatGPT should be able to pull that.
centerpieces. Let's see. That did not help.
That's interesting.
Show about.
Okay, well, let's move on because
All right, let's talk Mobland because
Yes.
I promised today that I would deliver all the deets for Mobland. Jeff was the one who submitted the question. I chatted with him on Facebook, and some of your listeners came up with some great suggestions because I was like, let me know what you want to hear. Mobland, a lot of people are interested in, so this is great. I don't know if everyone knows, but this was originally supposed to be the origin series for Ray Donovan.
oh,
The
okay,
Showtime
yeah,
series.
sure.
That
Yep.
it was originally announced as this, so they were going to kind of do the origin story for that and then make it into a spinoff. As they started to develop this show, they realized nope, we're going to go into a different direction. And so Mobland it is. It has nothing to do with Ray Donovan. So if you knew that it had been associated with that,
Oh,
forget
okay.
everything.
Yep.
It moved from Showtime to Paramount Plus. So you're going to see it premiere on Paramount Plus on March 30th. There will be 10 episodes to the season. The cast, phenomenal. You have Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren playing the patriarch and the matriarch of a mob family of the Harrigans. Harrigans have a feud against the Stevensons, and the Harrigans want to win this fight, so they bring in a fixer. That fixer is Tom Hardy.
Ooh, like Tom
Yes, I know. I was like, this cast is outstanding. And the series is executive produced, and some of the episodes are directed by Guy Ritchie. So if you're a big fan of his work, you're
Yep.
probably going to love all of this. The trailer is already out, so you can go and take a look at it. But the trailer is amazing, and I'll tell you, the enthusiasm for the series is going to be huge. So I think this is going to be a real big one this spring.
Nice.
So I got to be honest with you, with Ray Donovan, I watched it, and then finally I just got really bored with it. It got very repetitive to me. Did that happen to everybody, or was that just me?
I mean, I think a lot of people enjoyed the full series, but you know that happens with a lot of shows. You know, you
Yeah, it
go
does.
in there, you love the first 2 to 3 seasons, and then
Right.
sometimes right around 4 it falls off. And you go, I think I'm okay not watching how this ends.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what happened. I liked Ray Donovan a lot. I think, how many seasons did it go?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Probably
I want to say
10 or
something like
something.
I was going to
7.
say 7. Yeah.
7. Okay, because I made it through the first 3 or 4, but I've never seen 5, 6, and 7, and maybe I should go back and watch it. But it just got very repetitive to me. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
all
I'm
those
wrong.
shows really do eventually. Like even some
Yeah.
of my favorite shows, like House, the last season or 2, I
Yeah.
was just like, I mean, everything's been said and done.
Yeah.
And then they started getting very like shark jumpy, and then I was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that can happen too. So it's definitely one of those situations where you have to look at it and just go, it's a procedural. I know what's going on. Am I going to go for the entire ride or am I fine and just like picking it up here and there when I'm home?
yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I said it yesterday, I know, and I'll say it again, though. Television's never been better. I mean, there's so much of it, obviously. The volume is immense compared to, 30 years ago or whatever it was. But it's terrific stories, very well shot, really, really good acting.
Yeah, tons of great shows. A lot of spin-offs happening. 911, that universe is getting bigger. They're doing Nashville now. They did Lone Star, which they just wrapped up. And, you look at CBS, they built their entire lineup off of franchises from NCIS and CSI. Same thing
Right.
with all the Dick Wolf series on NBC. It's unbelievable.
No question about it. Blue Bloods is over now. Is that not correct? They did their last
Yeah,
season.
they did. But remember, they're doing a series with Donnie Wahlberg
Right.
in Boston. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're going to be doing a spinoff.
Tom
of that.
Selleck's not going to be in it.
As of right now, no, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up for a cameo. Don't you think? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's
Yeah, he
no
will do.
way, especially where, they're as a family, how could you not have them at least stop by for a cameo? Like what? Donnie Wahlberg moves to Boston and then never
Yeah.
speaks to his family again? That doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree with you. But I will tell you, be fully honest with you, if Tom Selleck's in it, I'll watch it. Doesn't matter what it is. I really enjoy his acting.
He's definitely not going to retire. I feel like
No.
he's got another series left in him. He seems to be someone who wants to continue to work.
He's
It's
80
just-
already.
Yeah.
He's 80?
He's
Yeah.
80?
God, I did not know he
No.
was 80. He sure doesn't look
Yeah.
80.
How old is Helen Mirren?
70, like 8, 76.
79.
They've got her looking.
79.
She's going to be 80 in
Wow.
July.
Yeah.
79.
She
okay.
seems to be working all the time.
She's in 2 series right now. She's got 1923, and she
Yep.
has obviously this series coming up. And listen, she's getting Pierce Brosnan as her husband. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, that is true.
Younger
That's a good
man.
point.
Fantastic.
Yep. No question. Yeah, but seriously, and you're the one who got me to even start watching television again, because for a while there, about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I didn't really care much for it. Again, because it just got the series just kind of droned on. But then you came and said, no, Tom, you got to get back and start watching. I started watching it. I'm really enjoying television again.
Well,
It's great.
when's the last time we had 2 movies that we actually liked in a month?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, That's
That is
very
true.
rare nowadays.
Yeah, and how often do you go to the movies? You just don't go to the movies the same way. If you think about
No,
it,
right.
6 years ago, what that puts us back to 2019, you were probably going to the movies much more frequently. And I think a lot of, obviously, with the pandemic, that changed movie going habits, and things just really haven't recovered since then.
I really do miss going to movies, though, because growing up, we went to the movies every weekend, and it depended on, obviously, the movie, but what kind of movie it was at which theater, because there was a theater in North Minneapolis. Everybody talked back to the screen the entire movie. It's like, oh my God.
I think you should go to the movies like once a quarter, like
Yeah,
just
at
find a
least.
movie,
Yep.
especially in the summer when it's a hot day out and you're like, oh, let's just go and enjoy the air conditioning and a tub of popcorn.
No, just go to those children's movies. That's the easiest because they like to go to the movies and
Yes,
they
they
don't
do.
come out all that often.
Yeah,
There's
Snow White, we talked about it last week and all of the drama they were happening behind the scenes. Early reviews so far are very good. They're saying it holds up the magic of the 1937 film.
Really?
Believe it or not. Rachel Zegler, they're saying, is Snow White. The only thing that reviewers are saying, and they wish that they had made a different choice, and we had talked about this, is that they CGI the dwarfs. They said that is the one choice that they cannot get behind because they said, why wouldn't you use real actors for
I
this?
know.
Yeah.
CGI, dwarf.
Do they worry about, we don't want to make fun of dwarfs in real life?
I think that might be the idea.
Probably.
At first, it was like the magical creatures, right? They
Right.
changed
Yeah, they
it 'cause,
weren't
like,
doors for a short amount
Yeah,
of
when
time.
they
Yeah.
first announced it, they were like, "Oh, it's going to be the magical creatures," and everybody freaked out. And so then they were like, "Oh, well, CGI dwarfs."
it might be one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations
Yeah.
where
Because
it's
if they
Probably.
if they hired actual little people to do it, it'd be like, you can't use the word dwarf because dwarf is derogatory and all that.
Or you're playing into stereotypes. I mean, but Peter
Yep.
Dinklage made a good point in terms of little people do not get the opportunities in Hollywood all that often. Or, they come in and it's like, okay, it's Christmas and we need Santa's elves,
Yeah.
that type of, those stereotypes still come into play here. And he's like, this would have been a really nice job opportunity for 7 little people in the entertainment industry.
yeah.
You know what's so great about that is looking back in life, and that's one thing I like about being where I am in the world right now. Because I look back, one of the most brilliant writers, piano players. I loved him as a singer. All the rest of it, his his biography film came out, and they called the movie Fats because his name was Fats Domino. They called it Fats, and nobody cared. He didn't find it derogatory. I'm Fats Domino. That's what he said. He was a big fat guy, and he just lived with it. But what the hell? So that popped right in my head. Well, you can't be derogatory. Well, Fats Domino's not exactly a compliment.
Well, but I mean, little people. How long has it been since they decided we're going to be little people? Because
I
it
know.
was,
Yeah, little people.
I feel like when we were a kid, it was like midgets, but
Yeah, midgets.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah, that's true.
Can't say that anymore.
yeah.
Oh,
I
that
would
sounds
do both.
cringy now when you hear it too. You're
yes,
like, oh,
exactly.
Well, I
know.
mean, midget literally stems from midge, as in those little flies,
yeah,
because
and then
they're so small.
Oh, yeah.
because it's
Well, dwarf is from-
dwarfism
Yeah.
is what causes.
I think dwarf.
People,
Dwarf's my favorite term because it's like it sounds cool,
It does actually.
but
You're
and
right.
it's also medically accurate. Whereas
No.
little
I guess-
person just sounds like something you'd say to insult a dwarf to me. It's like,
Well,
oh, look at the little person.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know.
even within like the deaf community, sometimes saying hard of hearing is offensive to them. They actually want to be labeled as deaf. So,
Yeah.
or hearing impaired. So you just really have to,
Yeah.
if you know someone who's a part of that community, just ask and say, what do you prefer? Because I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Another great
Yes.
memory. You guys keep giving me great memories. I had a friend, Greg.
Boy.
There was a whatever you want to call them now. They were called midgets back then. But apparently Greg didn't pay attention to that whole thing because the first time he saw the guy, he said, God, he really is a fidget. No, that's a different thing.
Fidget.
Fidgeting is different than midget. Fidget and midget are two completely different words. There is a word fidget. That's like to go like this. I got to make sure. That's
Well,
fidgeting.
now when you say fidget, it's something that like kids play with in school.
Yeah, I think it was
spinners.
like fidget spinners or yeah.
Oh, fidget spinners. That's right. That's
Yeah.
Oh
right.
yeah, now they have like these little boxes with switches on them and stuff that you can switch through, and I don't know. Gotta
Everybody
keep your
calm
hands
down.
occupied.
Yeah,
Everybody calm down.
never.
You know, I got friends that still call me Whitey. Black friends that call me Whitey. Well, I don't care. It works for me. You got to go, Kristen?
I do. Yes.
I thought so, yeah.
Top of the hour.
All right, my dear. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes. See you all tomorrow.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple of seconds. It's Tom for Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities. Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities are a place where your loved one will live with pride and dignity. If you care deeply about someone in your life, Wellshire is the place I highly recommend. Wellshire is a memory care-focused facility that has a full nursing team, always staffed within their building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They've never used or relied on any staffing agencies, never. Wellshire of Medina is now accepting elderly waivers after 12 months of private pay. I know them personally, and I don't say things like that unless I do. I've known them, he and his father, for a long time. Good people. I know them personally, and they are a family-owned local company conveniently located right in Medina and Bloomington. They are the best staffed memory care facility in the state. Wellshire has a robust community with activities 7 days a week. If your loved one is in need of a memory care facility, please get in touch with my friends at Wellshire. Set up a tour or learn more at wellshiremn.com. That's WEALSHIREMN.com.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
MyPill is excited to announce that they are extending the mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save $40 on the new spring MyPillow bed sheets, any size, any color. Get the 6-piece bath and kitchen towel sets, either or, bath or kitchen towel sets, for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard MyPillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of the mega sale 2.0, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code TOM. But that's not all. You will get free shipping on orders over $75. Why is that so low?
It's not.
I can barely hear it. Maybe it's just the carryover. Ladies and gentlemen, today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. So what's new in Minnesota? Anything we should know about?
Not really.
That I can
Everything's
think
normal here.
in Minnesota. Nothing is normal
Everyone's
in my life, but
No?
no, this week has been just absolutely ridiculous.
Why? What's going on?
It's fun. We're going to Madison, Wisconsin for a dance thing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
We're leaving at 2 p.m. straight from school and just like getting ready for that. And also like she's had a bunch of extra dance rehearsals, and then Dan was at the Timberwolves game on Monday, and we're going to the Timberwolves game tonight. And like, there's just so many things to, a lot of spinning plates.
But it sounds
And,
like it's all fun.
It's
For a given definition of fun.
Sure.
Well, you going to a Timberwolves game's got to be fun, isn't
No, I know,
it?
but no, I just mean like, you know, I have all of Fawn's dance stuff packed. I did that on Sunday.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I have all of her clothes and everything that she needs to be packed. We did that on Monday. And then I have to pack myself at some point because like tomorrow morning I have to be at school at 8:30, and then we're leaving straight from school, so I have to have everything in the car packed and ready to go by 8:25 tomorrow morning, and we're going to be gone this evening. And so it's just like,
Yeah, it's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
lot.
MB in the chat, the Feeding Our Future trial has gone to deliberation.
Really, no, tell us all about that.
Well, there's been a lot of people that have gone through a trial already, right? There's like 46 or 50 defendants or whatever they're
Is there
called.
that many?
Yeah.
This is, I think, for the company itself.
Oh, that's this Amy Bach person, the
Yes,
figurehead
Amy
of this?
Bach, yes.
Oh, okay. That went to deliberation.
That
That
is
would be interesting.
Yep, it's in deliberation, so we're going to see what they say.
All right, now who's Amy Bach? Is that a
She's the one
politician
that
or
was
something?
taking, apparently, okay, this is from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong. She was taking money
Your mic is
from
super high again.
people
Yeah, you're-
to
Okay.
kind of make an investment into this fraudulent, it was a Ponzi scheme.
Really?
Except for the Ponzi scheme was that they were taking money from federal funding and state funding to supposedly feed starving children.
But they didn't.
No.
Oh, great.
They all were buying amazing, Rolls Royces and houses for cash. And one guy bought a resort in Africa, and somebody was sending a plane back to Africa. And they were on social media for years, like really blinged out, and they were not hiding it. And the state of Minnesota there was another trial, and they sued the state of Minnesota for discrimination, and the state of Minnesota lost. So they
What?
had to keep on sending money to these people. And Amy Bach was supposedly the spearhead, allegedly, until she's convicted. And she's, of course, saying that she never did anything wrong and everything's great and that they were feeding kids. But the feds came in and went to all of these places and showed that there was nobody there, nobody home. Nobody was there. Nobody was being fed. The amounts of receipts that they had to feed children far exceeded the population of children in some of these communities.
Right.
It was just blatant fraud.
Theft.
Yep, and the state of Minnesota won't do anything about that at
Why?
all. I
Why-
don't know. They
why-
have no interest in going after anybody that does anything like that.
But aren't we talking, somebody told me
It's hundreds of millions of
hundreds
dollars.
of millions
$1 or something.
Yeah.
$500 million.
Let's
Yes.
see.
They're figuring between all of the scams that have been going on since the daycare centers and everything else, it's around $1 billion.
With 37 guilty pleas, 5 have been found not guilty out of 70. So we're only halfway done with all this.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
but this is the Amy Bach one. Everybody's
Amy
interested
Bach
to
is
see.
like the big one, I think.
She's the
yes.
big fish.
So that name sounds familiar. Why does that name sound familiar?
I don't
Amy
know.
Bach. What did she do before she got involved in this scam?
don't know.
Let's see.
What I'd like to know is how people figure out how to steal all this money. I mean, they got to be. Is it just that easy, or do you have to be an evil genius to figure out how to do it?
Let me ask you a question about this. And I don't know if Amy Bach, what her, background is or what her skin color is or anything like that. But Minnesotans particularly, I have noticed, get so touchy over skin color.
Yes,
They
they
sure
do.
I just don't, we're supposed to treat each other the same. Everybody's supposed to be on the same even keel destination, I guess is the best way to put it. But
Well-
Minnesotans, for some reason, cannot get over skin color.
I think
They
we're all
overreact
equal.
completely.
Except for Greeks.
Well, yeah, the problem with that, though, is now you're talking about a combination of skin colors there.
Sort of an off-white.
I was just going to say the latest Vikings deal,
Oh,
and
there
then
you
you
go.
pop up.
Yep. Surprise guest.
We.
What latest Vikings deal?
The Vikings are not pursuing Aaron Rodgers, and they
thank
reject
God.
trade offers for J.J. McCarthy.
Thank
Right.
God.
Those are both good decisions.
Those are really good. Why would anybody want Aaron? I have a friend. Can I say who it is, you think, Catherine? That was a friend of Aaron Rodgers, and now they don't even speak because he can't stand him.
I think you can. I mean, he didn't swear you to secrecy or
No,
say
he
don't
didn't.
say anything. I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way. He's an actor and a stand-up comedian from the Twin Cities.
Ah,
Narrows
Does
it
really,
down.
really well. And he works a lot with, a guy that used to be on Saturday Night Live.
Adam Sandler.
Adam
Putting the
Sandler.
pieces together.
Yeah, apparently Aaron Rodgers won't even talk to him anymore for no reason. He just decided he's a bad guy and I won't talk to you anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Now, Nick is his first name. I can throw that out there. One of the nicest people I've ever. Hey, look, he's a smart ass because he's a comedian, for Christ's sake. A lot of comedians are smart asses. I just don't understand. Yeah, this whole Aaron. Thank God they didn't bring Aaron Rodgers in here. I was going, please don't do this to us. We don't. First of all, his career's over, isn't it?
Well, we'll see. We're in the middle of this crazy quarterback carousel. A lot of quarterbacks are signing to different teams, and now it's 2 a.m. and the bar just flipped on the lights, and Aaron Rodgers is left. It's like, okay.
Well, do you think that the Vikings were thinking it would bring people? I mean, I think the Vikings games are well attended, but it would bring some attention to the Vikings just having him as the QB.
Well, I mean, like it or not, he's definitely still in the top 32 quarterbacks in the world. I mean,
you know,
especially for the bottom handful of teams who are sort of left without a good one at this carousel. I mean, I get the appeal. But for the Vikings, they have a kid who's, poised to be great. So enough with this other sideline story. I think they're making a good choice.
Are they just going to start JJ now?
I think so. And they probably can.
I hope they will
get one of the many available backups who are cheap and reasonable, as
cheap and reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, ish. These are relative concepts, right?
It is all relative. I have a question for you, and it's, I suppose, not a very nice thing to say, but please explain to me how Sam Darnold is worth $100 million.
Yeah, same deal. I mean, it's a supply and demand issue. It's, if you're one of the bottom 10 teams that doesn't have one of the premier names in the league, you're sort of left in this no man's land, and you're forced to take a chance on some of these guys who at least flash. Sam took a team to the playoffs, and he won 14 games last year. Is that right?
Yeah, 14 games. Yep.
So I mean, you understand the appeal, especially if you've got sort of a disappointing quarterback. Otherwise,
Catherine, say that again because you're right.
But he chokes.
He definitely did last year. The last couple of games were ugly, but
terrible.
And that probably cost him another $100 million. Like if he played well in those games, they would have given him even more money.
When are they going to do that for disc jockeys? $100 million disc jockeys. What do you think? No?
It's not the 80s, Tom.
Yeah.
It's not the 80s anymore. That's right. That's exactly right. No question. Sam Darnold did a fine job and all the rest of it, but in the playoffs, he was absolutely horrendous. How he's worth $100 million, I will never understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kirk Cousins was the same deal. No one has leveraged skills into money like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a meme going around now. He's now has within a small number the same career earnings as Tom Brady in way fewer years.
Oh, wow. God. Oh, God.
Really?
Yeah, because he's a little bit later in the arc and the money keeps going up, right?
Right.
That's so amazing.
And he also has really leveraged those kind of transitional beats, in the perfect way when people needed him. So,
how many Super Bowls did Tom Brady win?
Is it 6?
6 or 7?
7?
It might be 7. I think
it's some crazy number.
That's a lot.
Andy's finding out right now.
It looks to be 7.
He won 7 Super Bowls,
6
and this kid's going to make more money.
Right.
I know, it makes no sense.
Yeah. But, Kurt's probably the 28th best quarterback in the world right now, the 22nd best quarterback in the world. I mean, it's still a pretty impressive feat to be that good at a thing that is so hard to do well.
Yeah. So who's the best quarterback right now?
Well, in terms of real NFL-ness, it's probably Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
what's he making?
Yeah, he's doing all right.
I knew his dad. His dad was with the Twins, Minnesota Twins. I knew his dad.
He was a baseball player for years.
He was a baseball player. Yeah. Probably don't drink and drive again though, Pat Senior.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys you could kind of throw into the conversation of the best right now. Lamar Jackson would certainly be one of those. The Bills quarterback. I mean, there's a handful of really great ones that are just you build the whole franchise around them.
And what are they making?
They're making really good money.
There you go.
Really, I mean, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's in the neighborhood of 50 million a year. Is the
Mahomes got a 10-year, $450 million contract.
right?
45
So
million.
$45 million a year for 10 years.
Wow.
Right. And
But
Josh
also-
Allen, I think, just surpassed that with his big contract. And I mean, it's one. I mean, it's an arms race because the money for the player pool goes up every year by a considerable amount because the business keeps growing and the way the contracts work, the teams have to spend X amount per team, and the amount of money that's spent goes up considerably each year. So every time a new contract is signed by a premier player, it's usually a record at the position for that, so it's the most that's ever been paid to that position. So that just happened with Josh Allen. It just happened with several other players. In fact, in the last week or so, there was a phrase that was going around. This is the most money ever paid to a non-quarterback. That changed hands 3 times this week.
Oh God! In 1 week.
Yeah, because it was the edge rusher from the Browns, Myles Garrett, most money ever made by a non-quarterback. And like the next day, Max Crosby signed one that was a little bit bigger. And then a few days later, Jamar Chase signed one, the big shot receiver for the Bengals. So these numbers go up and up and up. And that's just the nature of how it works. So, I mean, if you compared the money that some of the famous quarterbacks that we remember from our youth to what the guys are making today, I mean, it's like a different planet.
It's a joke.
All right, Andy's going to find out. Fran Tarkenton at the time was
Right.
maybe the best quarterback in all of football. Don't
Yeah,
you think, Costaki?
Yeah, University of Georgia to Minnesota Vikings. That's
Minnesota
a connection
Vikings.
for you.
How much? Biggest amount of money he made in 1 year, Andy?
His starting salary in today's money is $100,000.
$100,000.
That's
a
in
year.
today's money. So it was probably 25 grand at the time.
25,
No, it was
probably
$12,000.
Yeah.
$12,000.
$12,000 in back then money.
That wasn't even a lot of money back then.
Right.
Yeah, $100,000. I mean, $100,000 is
It was okay, but it wasn't. You
It
were.
wasn't like $45 million. No.
No.
His total career earnings was $1.2 million.
God.
Now,
That's
Costaki,
amazing.
I have to ask you this: is a lot of this owner arrogance?
In terms of the spending the money.
Yes, and look how much money I've got to spend on a quarterback. Is that part of
Probably.
this?
Well, I mean, it might be a part of it here and there with in terms of trying to sign flashy players, but you have to remember this. We always talk about the salary cap. There's also a salary floor. The NFL has a very strict
Right,
rule.
yes, right.
You have to spend more than this and less than that. It's a pretty narrow band. So that, I mean, again, you could debate the merits of this, but I like it. I think it's better than like European soccer is just, there's a handful of the giant teams that will always be giants.
Yeah.
And the other guys are just fighting for scraps, which is what happens in Major League Baseball too. It's very hard to compete with the Yankees or the Dodgers, some of these big market teams,
Yep.
because they don't have a salary cap.
The minimum salary is currently $795,000
In what sport?
NFL.
Oh, that's per player.
Yes.
Right. But there's also a minimum that you have to spend on the players for
as
the
the whole
team.
team.
Yeah. There's a
Let's
salary
see.
cap and there's a salary minimum. And you can mess with it a little bit over a 3-year period, but it's a relatively narrow band of money, if I remember right.
So who is the owner that caused that to happen? Because it had to be an owner or two that wouldn't pay anybody that made that happen.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
I guarantee it had to be 2 guys just wouldn't pay anybody, and
Right.
the league went, we can't look this bad.
Yeah, that's probably true. That might have been like before I was really studying the game. It might have
Right.
been in the 70s or 80s.
Right.
You're right. You're probably right. There was probably a some sort of a stern meeting held on that subject. They were like,
Stern.
all right, you got to at least spend this, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly. Well, the former owner of the San Diego Clippers basketball team, didn't he go through that kind of thing where you spend it too much and then he wouldn't spend anything?
Oh, really? I don't know
I
basketball.
believe so.
though.
I believe that was right.
Yeah, that's funny. And because teams there's revenue sharing from the league, shares revenue down to the teams, and then of course
Right.
the teams also make their own revenue with ticket sales and market rights and all kinds of other things. So it's a crazy dance that all these things are sort of interconnected. But man, that the value of these teams and the amount of money that the NFL generates, it just goes up and up and up and up. Every year it just jumps by a giant margin. It's amazing how successful this league is.
No doubt.
Crazy.
No question about it. Take a very quick break. You got about 5 more minutes, Pally?
Yeah, I'm around. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll be right back right after this. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Let's take a second and talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company and Bilski. If you own a business or are thinking about starting one, make sure to check out my friends at North American Banking Company. When your business is looking to capitalize on an opportunity or solve a problem, turn to their experts because they are locally owned and operated. Loan decisions are made here in the Twin Cities, not shipped out of state. This helps business owners they expand with confidence. I said confidence. So if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation, 952-925-5608. Costaki Economopoulos with us, talking about football because, again, I mean, the billions and billions of dollars that flow through that sport, that's the big shot league now. I mean, baseball used to be back in the day, but that was a long time ago now, right?
Yeah, easily. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Dallas Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the world, ahead of, Barcelona and some of the big soccer teams and everything else now. Yeah, which is hard to believe because those sports are global. There's literally people in Brazil and China, closely watching those sports, and yet the NFL is still a monster, even compared to those franchises.
Oh wow, yeah, I'm looking at the most valuable sports teams, which includes NFL, NBA, MLB, and association football. Real Madrid is number 12 after 12 different NFL teams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Cowboys, Warriors, Rams, Yankees, Knicks, Patriots, Giants, Lakers, Jets, 49ers, Raiders, and Eagles are all worth more than... Is it Real Madrid or Real Madrid?
Real.
Oh,
Real, yeah.
Yeah, they're all worth more. I mean, Real Madrid is still worth $6.6 billion, so they're not doing badly.
Yeah, they're okay.
And Man U is also $6.6 billion, roughly.
Manchester United, yeah.
Yeah, Barcelona's 5.6. But no, this list is absolutely dominated by the NFL.
And if you look at the other list that's kind of astounding is if you look at the end of the season, they'll release the television ratings on shows.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's like 94 of the top 100 shows are NFL football games.
Yep, I know.
You
Really?
can't even believe, it's not even possible to get your head around it, how much they dominate, the ratings of things.
Well, that list I just went through, there are 3 NBA teams and 1 MLB team that are higher than Real Madrid.
Wow. Honest to God. Now,
Warriors, Knicks, and Lakers, and then the Yankees.
Andy, would you check something for me? Because I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I might be wrong, that the Minnesota Vikings were purchased as a franchise in 1960, I think, for $100,000.
The Vikings, you said?
I think the Vikings were purchased from Major League Football and NFL, National League Football.
They were established in 1960.
Yeah. And how much did they pay for the team?
Let's see. So it might be a little bit.
Okay,
you were around, Tom. You couldn't put 10 grand into the deal.
Believe me, I had somebody come to me and ask if I wanted to buy part of the Minnesota Twins back when they were for sale for, I believe, like $100,000 or something.
Really?
It wasn't very. No, it was more than that. But I think it was like
the franchise fee for the Vikings in 1960 was $1 million.
it was $1 million. Okay, not 100,000. So was it $1 million for a football team?
In today's money, it was 1 million. So in today's money, it's probably, let's see,
a few more million, but still nothing compared to the real value.
Well, no, of course not.
No.
Let's see, 1960. How much inflation are we looking at? We're looking at about 11 times. So just under $11
million. And those teams are worth billions.
Yeah.
Oh, they certainly are.
All right, I have a question. I want an Andy in my life. Andy, could you?
Yeah, exactly.
What was the most recent sale of an NFL team? Was it the Washington team? And was it $6 billion?
You are correct on both counts.
Wow.
$6 billion for a team they probably bought for $1 million.
$6 billion for the Commanders. Well, here's an interesting thing. As a fun joke, I looked up the least valuable sports teams. Just went through the most. The least valuable sports team, professional sports team, like national in America, would be the Arizona Coyotes, which are the NHL, because Arizona, a lot of ice there.
Yeah,
a lot of
known
ice
for hockey.
So the least valuable national sports team in the country is still worth $700 million.
Great.
Wow.
There you go.
But it's like the Arizona Coyotes NHL team, $700 million. How?
Yeah, what's their record this season? That's what I want to know.
Question.
I literally never heard of that team.
I was going to say I've never, but I don't know much about hockey.
I mean, I don't know anything about hockey. Obviously, I couldn't even,
Stanley Cup 0, conference championship 0, President's Trophy 0, 1 division champion. There you go.
In fact, when you said the team name, I thought, what is that, like a WNBA team or something?
It sounds like, yeah.
I literally never heard of them.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a reason. How many people in Arizona care about hockey? There cannot be that many.
It's crazy that, if I'm not mistaken, one of the big hockey success stories was the team that was in Carolina. That's another one. Like, I grew up in Georgia. Nobody cares about hockey in the South. You don't play it. You don't think about it. It's not in your head. There's no Canadians around.
No, they do not care. The funny thing about the Arizona Coyotes is prior to being the Phoenix Coyotes, they were Phoenix and now they're Arizona. But prior to being the Phoenix Coyotes, they were the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, Winnipeg Jets. Yep.
Winnipeg
had a team for
very
years.
different. Huh.
Because Winnipeg, I can see,
Canada,
but ice there.
hockey, yes.
That is the deal. All right, any closing words?
Let me do at least a couple jokes.
I'd love to hear a couple of jokes.
It would be crazy not to do a couple jokes. Let's see.
Yep.
Justin Fields signed with the Jets, the New York Jets. The ACLU issued a statement that playing quarterback for the Jets is a violation of Justin's constitutional protection against cruel and unusual punishment.
I'm glad
Did you write that?
New York Jets, so we knew what the Winnipeg
I wrote that.
There you go. Very good.
Hold on. Let's do Justin Tucker comedy briefly. He didn't attend the combine, but looks like Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has also been doing the broad jump. 16 broads.
Oh, God.
The list of people accusing Justin Tucker of sexual misconduct is now up to
16?
Yeah.
Now, what constitutes that? He just goes up and starts grabbing body parts, or what's he doing?
Yeah. I read some of the closer reports. It's just a bunch of gross, like, yucky dude stuff, like touching their thighs and touching himself and
Ew.
It's a lot of massage therapists, apparently.
It's massage therapy situations where he's acting like it's a prostitution situation.
Oh, well, there's, he just needs to look up the 1-800-RUB and tug, and then
Right.
they'll
He's
be
going to the
okay
wrong
there.
place.
Don't go to
Right.
a regular place and think that that's going to happen.
Well,
By the way, that's not our request line. 1-800-RUB and tug is not a request line for the Tom Bernard Show.
It's the right number of digits. So.
It is.
It's a
absolutely.
perfect. Hey, we should patent that.
All right. Nice way to close out the show, Costaki, with that.
Welcome. Yeah.
with sexual
I
harassment.
got to do one boyish joke at some point, otherwise,
Well, that's
Beth will
true.
Be disappointed. You know?
Yes, I know.
You're absolutely right. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow.
Bye.
guys.
Oh, we're like done.
Yeah, when I say we're done, Andy, it means we're done.
Well, you're usually done at 11:45.
Yeah.
No, we're not. That's when
Yeah.
we have a guest
Literally
on.
are every day done at 10.
Oh,
11:45.
Jesus.
I have to leave at 10:30. I leave early, and then you continue on.
Yeah.
Some days, okay, I will tell you, the guest booking that we use is not doing a very good job, so I'm going to have to find somebody new.
Okay, we don't need to talk about this right now.
Okay, well, then why'd you bring it up?
I didn't bring
That
up guest
wasn't-
booking at all.
What?
I didn't bring up the guest booking whatsoever.
Whatever.
Okay. I'm going to go to work.
She's
All
out
right.
See you
Talk
later.
to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Got a picture in my noggin reminds me of this one was before. Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking.